Dana Dargos and Saeed Al-Bizri are a niece uncle author duo who have recently released a new science fiction adventure book that aims to find out the answer to that age-old question, is there a god? The novel has already received stellar 5-star ratings from its early batch of readers on Amazon, and of course it's titled Einstein in the Attic. And Saeed and Dana are here with us. How are you both doing today?
Good,
Fine.
good. How are you?
I'm smashing. So in this book, you've got this guy, Adam Reemi, who's kind of zapped all these philosophical minds into his attic. Are they able to help him find out the answer?
The thing is, he zapped two scientists and two philosophers, which they're kind of interconnected, like Spinoza, Einstein, and of course Newton and Kierkegaard.
Yeah.
And that what we wanted, why we chose them, because we needed like an objective, let's say, opinion of what's happening now, and with the technology that we have now. What would they think about like the question of the evolution theory and where that put us now? So the thing is, we put them in an adventure, and we've narrowed three clues, let's say, and they just dig in a nice adventure, which we, let's say, it goes through different and deep, let's say, philosophical questions till they reach the truth with the help of the four scientists. That's the main part of the story.
So is there a definitive answer in the end?
Actually, there is. In a way, the thing is, there's what we've tried to highlight is that there's a lot. Although there are a lot of gaps within the evolution theory, if let's say it gaps, they highlight it, and they just put an objective. They shed some objective light on it, which in the end that we reach a conclusion that there is a maker.
Yeah. Would you say the book is quite balanced as well in terms of giving arguments for both sides?
Yeah, I mean, we explore both sides very fairly and with logic and a lot of scientific evidence and reasoning, so it's not like it's not leaning towards one side or the other per se. So it's very fair in those arguments. And it also explores common arguments and I think lines of thinking that people often wonder about.
And I suppose one of the things is as well, people often assume that science and religion are mutually exclusive, but they're not really, are they?
Well, the thing is with science, look, if you argue, you're branded as in a way, like if you argue about something, let's say, well, we've done the math and the math doesn't add up. They would say, you're just another, let's say, faith guy and so on. But the thing is, there are gaps in science, and actually these gaps, if you look at it now with the technology that we have, and let's say what we know now about the DNA and how it works and so on, well, there's like a really, really big gap in the evolution theory. And that's what we try to highlight, And it's not about the DNA only. There's a lot of things that we leave to the readers to go through. But that's what we tried. We didn't take any side, by the way, but there is evidence, it seems, that the things that to say that we've evolved and just depend on random evolution and just put it on time to make things better, it just in this time and age doesn't add up. That's what we tried to highlight in a really fun story.
Yeah, absolutely. And what actually made you to want to actually write a book about this?
Well, the thing is, he is a Lebanese immigrant that goes to the US, and he's gone through the part of his life, he's gone through the Civil War, and he's witnessed this, the problem of evil. Let's say there's so much evil in the world, and if he witnessed it firsthand, so it's just we wanted just to discover and just to because we've been through it, and we just put it in a really good story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, me and Said, we were actually speaking, I think about like 6 years ago when we first got the idea for the book. We were having a basic conversation about the problem of evil where at the time, I think it was 2015, there seemed to be a lot of chaos in the world, even though it compares nothing to now and COVID and Ukraine and Russia and all that chaos.
Yeah.
But anyways, back in 2015, we were just talking about the problem of evil in general in life, whether it's with personal struggles or worldly struggles. And, we both realized that we did at one point kind of explore the thought of whether there is an intelligent designer in the world or not. And, if there was one, why would he allow evil in the world? So from there, we kind of said, well, I think this is such a relatable topic. What if we kind of create a novel out of it, since we're sure that a lot of people would be interested in it? Why don't we explore the question, find the answers to it, and create an appealing book that's also entertaining to different audiences, and that will also inspire them. Yeah. So with Adam's struggle, for example, he suffers through a lot in his life. He suffers through war, his mother passing away, his father becoming abusive, and so of course that distances him from his faith. And later on he realizes that, oh wait, it's impacted his marriage, it's impacted his life, his motivation for his career, everything. So he has a lot of unresolved trauma. And then from there he eventually meets Muntz, and he realizes, he needs to get a hold of his life already. He's in his 40s. So, he needs to take care of things. And from there, the story evolved, from that thought of wanting to kind of explore the problem of evil. And, together we added one idea to another. So it was like a 50-50 collaborative work, if you will.
Yeah.
Yep. And the thing is with the problem of evil, it's always used as as an excuse why there's no, with the evolutionists and so on. And the thing is, it's a very tough subject. You can't say that, well, you know what, evolution theory does not work, but it's not easy to say that. However, we tried to narrow it into three good arguments, smart arguments, and they go into we explored it through the four scientists, and we really didn't take any side. But the thing is, when you look into it, it's just there's really some really good arguments against it. See what I mean?
Yeah. And of course, as you mentioned, Dana, it was a 50-50 collaboration, but did you each have your sort of roles in writing the book, or was it just maybe sitting together and discussing it maybe?
Both, actually. So originally started...
It was across two continents, actually.
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah, so it started in Lebanon over the summer back in 2015. And then when I came back to the States, we'd literally work across two continents on, WhatsApp, Skype, all of that stuff. So we'd gather ideas, we'd take turns writing it, we'd make sure the line of thinking and the tone and the structure of the writing was similar, because we were afraid of having it seem like two different people wrote it, when the goal was to make it seem like one person wrote it, so that it seemed like it was, from Adam's perspective, one line of continuous thinking.
Yeah, that's an interesting point that you don't really think about, I suppose, because there are two authors, but you want to believe in the character. So how do you actually do that? I guess you have to have a discussion about who this character is beforehand, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We had to discuss, for example, the character's want and the need, and usually those two contradict each other, especially in Hollywood screenplays as well, since there's a hint, there's a little secret formula for Hollywood movies that are also translated into writing, or vice versa, since a lot of Hollywood movies are translated over from books. So, you'd start with the character's want and need, and from there you shape their personality, and depending on what they're struggling with, you kind of create challenges that the character endures, and it's some of the hardest challenges for that character because it challenges their weakness. And from there you also create the supportive characters, and also, of course, highlight how they contribute to the story with their varying roles as well.
Yeah. Do you think this question of is there a God is more important today or more relevant?
Well, the thing is, it's just, it's the search in itself. It's what, to put it this way, it's what defines us, that we're, as a species, we're an intelligent species. And it's our right, and it's our, let's say, it's our purpose in life just to search for truth. And in this time and age, with all this chaos that's building up, especially in the past 20 years, things have been moving too fast. It's part of entropy. This is what we put as well in it's like entropy. So yeah, it is. It's a very important part of our life, just to search for truth. Although some people, they just don't care about it, but it is important,
Yeah.
And we didn't take any side, just to be fair. It's just the conclusion that's important here.
Yeah, but even for the conclusion, we still kind of leave it open to the audience, so we don't directly state that, Adam thinks the correct answer is ... So we kind of wrap things up in an appealing manner that's inspirational to everyone. And to add on to Syed's point, I also wanted to say, I think curiosity is, it's such a human element. It's present in many of us, and then especially for this topic of God. I feel like in today's times, it is a bit even more relevant because, like I've said, with the chaos, a lot of people are wondering, what's going on? Is there hope? So I feel like, the question of God, it also inspires people to think of, hope and whether to have faith for a better future or not. And, it's depending on their belief. Some people wrap their entire lives around that specific belief, around its principles, around its goals, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. And this book has already had quite a lot of good reviews on Amazon, hasn't it?
Yeah. So far.
Yeah, we're really happy about that.
And that must be good because there'll be much more to come, I presume.
Oh, yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
And, I really like the comments about how they like the characters especially, and also, aside from the basic storyline of exploring of whether there's an intelligent designer or not and its clues, an aspect I really liked was how a lot of audiences liked the characters of the philosophers, since we did so much research into them.
Actually, we feel close to the characters after all the research that we've done. It's like, he's like an old friend, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, we've done so much studies into their histories, their mannerisms, their voice tones, everything. So it's like for Einstein, we learned that he actually had a habit of sometimes picking up cigarette butts from the street and smoking those, just because he wanted to, or like even walking barefoot, just because that's the person he was, So, we really did feel connected to these characters. We felt like they were real life people, even though technically they were real life people. But you know what I mean.
Is it harder to write about real life people than fictional ones? Because maybe somebody somewhere is going to go like, Einstein wouldn't have said that or whatever.
It is very hard.
Definitely a challenge.
Yeah,
that's why, that's why part of the research, that's why I took part of it.
Especially like for Spinoza and for, let's say Spinoza and Newton, for Spinoza for Newton for a lesser but Spinoza's, he wasn't like really well known in a way, but he was an interesting character, as well as Soren Kierkegaard, in a way he was a really smart guy as well. So try to highlight these guys.
Yeah, compared to like Einstein, for example, was more recent. We had tons of research on Einstein, very old interviews, all of that stuff. So, in those black and white videos, you could actually see how he speaks and whatnot. But
Wow.
for example, with Kierkegaard and Spinoza and Newton, you had to use your
You
imagination.
don't have it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, where can we find the book Einstein in the Attic if we'd like to read it?
Amazon.com.
Great. Simple as that. Well, many thanks for joining us today. It's been great to have you both here.
Cheers.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's been a pleasure.